R2 builders, welcome back. We are doing a scratch build of the power couplers and they're made out of styrene. So what we're doing is here we are taking a square piece of styrene and we are drawing a box on there. The reason we're drawing this box is we're doing some raised detail that's on the face of the power coupler. They're basically like half squares with circles cut out in the middle of them. So in order to do this, we have to draw a box to make these things, and then we have to draw a circle in the middle of this box and on the outside. So that's what I'm doing now is I've got all the measurements there. I got some friction dividers. I just want to make sure that the circle and the box and the squares line up properly because the dimensions are a little bit different. So you see me checking each side here just to make sure that everything lines up properly. So what I'm doing now is I'm just using my friction dividers like I did with styrene on the skins. I use them to like kind of etch a line. I keep going a little bit deeper, putting a little bit more pressure on, go deeper and deeper until I feel I can use a razor knife to score that a lot better and the razor knife won't go off of track. That's important because we don't want to scratch our styrene because then you have to fix it or possibly make a new one. So here you see me, I'm just slowly making the cuts deeper and deeper with the X-Acto knife. A sharp blade will do a really good job of doing this as well. So I just slowly move this sheet in various different ways, whatever I feel comfortable with so I can make this. I wasn't concerned with how close to the edges I got as long as I stayed within the parameters of that square. So once we're ready to do that, we can start scoring the straight lines across here, which you see there are 4 sides that we have to do. So just score those until each piece starts to break off, or you can break them off by your hand, whatever you want to do, and then just sand them down later on. So here you see how long it takes to just slowly score these until it finally starts breaking free. It is styrene, it's a 0.040, so it's a little bit thick, so it does take some time and a little bit of pressure. Here we go, we've almost got this side off, finally breaks off. We'll get another side right here after doing some working with that. Now they're all off. Now I'm just basically marking my center points just so I can have a reference for the next one that I have to create. Once we have that marked, we will take this little circle pieces and we're going to break them off completely. So here I am just slowly cutting this raised detail out again until it starts coming off of the circular piece that we will create. And here you see it's going deeper and deeper. I don't have to go all the way across it. Sometimes smaller cuts work. Here are 4 pieces of them. And remember, we're doing 2 power couplers, so you need to make 2. So here we go. This is the circle right here that we are making. This is for more raised detail that goes on the inside. So we just keep going around and around, just like I did before, until this finally breaks free. And you can move it around with your hands a little bit. And this is, as I said, I'm doing the raised detail for that other portion right there. I didn't want to etch too much of that. So here we go. This is the other circle for the raised detail that sits on the inside of the power coupler. Doing the same thing again. Ironic. Etching the circle in. As you can see, that's a repetitive pattern when you work with styrene. You got to at least start somewhere. So this is how I do it. And it works really well, and then it creates a really nice circle. So here I'm just cutting out the lines. You can go all the way through with these lines on this as long as, everything comes out straight. That's why I use the ruler. You can go freehand if you want. I've done that too if you have a real steady hand. Just slowly etching this line here so we can break this piece. And then you see me here going around the circular portions one more time. It's going to be a lot easier to break everything into pieces by doing it this way. Here you see this is half of it, basically already broken free. Another piece, and here I am just getting that circle cut out. And this is a smaller piece right here. That's why I'm using the knife. It's a lot easier to break apart. Here is the remaining part of that circle. As you can see, it's starting to break off right here. And a couple more cuts, and this will be one of those pie panels, if you want to call it that. And there they are, 8 raised detail pieces, and remember you have to double that because it's power coupler. Alright, so now comes the top face and the ring that will form that. This is again 0.40 styrene. You may want to go a little bit thinner to make this ring. It depends on what you want to do. So remember, you need to find the circumference of that whole circle that basically goes down into the power coupler. Once you get that circumference, you know the total length of that ring that you're going to make. So here we'll break this apart. This is the face that we're doing here. So you can see I've got the circle drawn out. Sometimes it also helps to draw other parts of the layout on so you know where everything goes. So again, just etching this circle, that way we can cut this out properly and it doesn't make anything look too rough. It's a tedious process making all these, but eventually you get it done, and then you get to use your razor, and then you get to cut with that as well. Hey, here I am using the razor. You still see my reference lines right there. I'm just slowly going around this until I know I can break this piece out. Now you can see I've already got some of this square cut out in the circle. That's why it looks a little funny, because I've had a couple of different versions that I tried to do. One version was where I would sit this circle portion inside of the ring, and the other I decided to sit it on top of the ring. So remember, if you're doing that, you need to make two different dimensions for that based on how you'd like to do it. I decided I wanted the face to sit on top of the ring and not on the outside of it. So you always have to consider that when building these. So there we got the circle cut out, and here I'm just marking some things that we can use, because we can use this circle for other stuff later on. And as you see, this is a rough attempt, and that's how I had this, was where that outside circle was sitting on the inside circle, so you could see all of that. I decided I didn't like that, so I'm going to make it a little bit differently. So adjust all measurements accordingly with depths and things like that. So this is the face right here, and you can see we've got that all cut out. We are going to put this circle on. I just do work slowly, one side at a time. You may want to curve this piece a little bit. It makes it a lot easier to put on if you've pre-curved it a little bit. You see, you just hold it in place and you do slowly, side by side, just holding it in until the super glue cures. I'm using super glue because it dries rather fast. So you do have to be careful with it, of course, because it does dry fast, but you want to make sure you do it right too at the same time. This is for the center portions. So what we did, we drew a round circle right here. This is going to be for our slots that go in there, and then this is another circle. So this is kind of a 2-for-1 deal. We have this right here will be for the uprights, and this will be for the cone, and we're going to use both of these at the same time. So again, as usual, we're using the friction tongs to etch our circles. It is quite common, I've said this before, just work slow. Here we are cutting this circle out. Sometimes I know it gets boring seeing me cut circles all the time, but I know you like to see the process, so here we go. And we're slowly just breaking this out of this small little piece of styrene right here. Takes a little bit of time, but you know, we do what we got to do to get it done. And eventually, look at that. See, it just breaks right out of there. It's not hard. You do just sand the edges a little bit. You know how it is. That way everything is smooth. So you see a little bit of bumps on there. Not too big of a deal. So just break that free and we can use that later on. But before we do that, we are going to cut out the rest of these pieces here that you see on the bottom, and those are going to be for our uprights for this circle, and we're going to save that center piece because that'll be the middle. So remember, you don't want to go all the way across this because we're saving that center circle, so we're just going from circle to edge. Be careful, you don't want to score that circle. Not that it matters, it won't be too big a deal because you won't ever see that inside of that. So here, just break away these pieces slowly. Work carefully, of course, because it is styrene. You don't want to break everything. We do want to keep this rounded edge, so we'll want to file that down later on to make sure it stays rounded. Just use a piece of sandpaper for that. Here we go, breaking off the rest of these. Not too bad of a job, if I would say so myself. Here we go, and now we have the other pieces, and you see me just filing down these edges. Making the center pieces. There's a little bit of tedious stuff here. We are going to bevel the edges of this because the center uprights, they go inward. So we want to make sure the styrene, it lays at least halfway decent while we do this. So you can see those right there. You see the bevel. You can see how these go together right here. Just rough. That's why I've also got some pencil markings on there so I can see how it goes. So thank you for watching. What I want you to do is check back for part 2, and we are going to make all this detail pieces right here. It's very tedious to do, but I know you'll get the picture of it, and once we're done, you'll have a very satisfied product Right here, I'm just showing you a little bit of geometry. Remember, for the latest video, don't forget to subscribe. Comments and likes are always appreciated. We'll see you on the next one.